Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today we're jumping right into Road to Ranked. In the last episode, we used a really fun team featuring Necrozma Duskmane, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. I think this team is pretty hard to execute. If you are trying it out and you're struggling, don't worry. I think this is generally one of the harder teams that I featured on Road to Ranked because I actually played some games between yesterday and today's episode, and I definitely felt like I wasn't executing 100%. It relies a lot on good switches and positioning, especially because you're not often going to get one-hit KOs. So yeah, this is not an easy team to use, and so I just wanted to make sure you all knew that. First game of the day, we're actually up against Kyurem-White. I know this is Vinja Wing's Kyurem-White team. He actually got top 10 on the ladder of the last ranked season with this team, which is really cool. And it's Choice Scarf Kyurem. So honestly, Kyurem's not scary to me at all. It's going to be Landorus, I think that's the main threat from my opponent's end. So Feeny is going to be important for us in dealing with that. Landorus is actually really scary. What do I want to go with? Could just lead Necrozma outright. Okay, honestly, Instant Necrozma is pretty interesting. Feeny in the back. Zapdos is the fourth. I actually think Landorus is the main, threat on my opponent's team, so we'll see how that plays out. Either way, our opponent's team is one that I have, featured, or I have on the list of teams to try out soon, especially because we haven't featured Kyurem-White yet, and like I said, this team was actually able to get top 10 on the ladder. Really impressive, and Binja is just one of the best team builders I've seen in Sword and Shield, so yeah. Either way though, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like, I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, I'm curious what you think people are sleepy on right now in terms of good Pokemon. Good boy answers I have just from, I think, seeing what other players are using, and things that are winning at a high win rate despite not being used very often, things like Jellicent, Salazzle, and Pelipper, so those are some of my answers. This is a really good lead by them. I honestly could see them going for Fake Out Sub. I want to double switch here into Zapdos and Feeny. I definitely got outled here. Very, very hard. Yeah, and if I wanted to play around that, Galarian Zapdos would have been a sick lead here. I honestly probably should have gone for it, because them leading Instant felt really likely, given Kyurem is so bad for them as a lead into Necrozma. This Lando has Sub, I believe, as well, so pretty good chance they go for Sub. Sub wouldn't be the end of the world, because then I can just Brave Bird Muddy. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, that's actually really good. Fake Out and Protect. Ah, I see. Protect is kind of surprising there, because it's not like the Fake Out chip matters much. But I'll take it. Yeah, honestly, free close combat into Instant now in Muddy Water. Actually, I think the priority here should be on Lando because it's protected last turn. So Brave Bird Muddy was the better play, I believe. Especially because Instant here can go out into Ditto. Yeah. So I don't love that play on my end. Because I don't think they have any... I was just okay, I want to knock out Incineroar so that Necrozma has an easier time. But to be honest, Landorus is actually the main offensive threat. And they kind of gave it to us on a platter by protecting turn 1. So, I mean, the play we make here is okay, but it's just suboptimal in my opinion. They hard switch Incineroar, okay. So I would expect Ditto to come out here. They bring out Scizor, that's fine. Oh, did they not have Sub on it? I thought they did. They crit us, which is fine. We get a Muddy Water off. I mean, the reality is that they don't have great damage into Lando right now. I wonder if Close Combat just knocks out Scizor from this range. That would be fantastic. It does not, unfortunately. But that's fine still. I think, actually, the Lando doesn't have Sludge Bomb, if I remember correctly. I think I'm fine just going into Instant here. And clicking Muddy Water. Yeah, if I just doubled up onto Lando, it felt like game over. That was just a bad play by my end. Because, like, I don't really need to worry about Instant because his damage output is subpar. Whereas Lando's damage output is obviously a little bit scarier. Okay. Oh, they do have Sludge Bomb. Is that a KO? Okay, it's not. Is it that they just don't have Substitute? I definitely have seen this team, like, posted, and I even, like, have the rental for it in my box, but I just didn't remember its full moveset. Either way, Phineas Clutch and survives. But this is an example of, like, how when you're using restricteds that are not as common, it can be very more matchup-oriented, where, like, Kyurem-White just unfortunately can't do anything, especially with that set, into our Necrozma. So we just have a significant upper edge in terms of how our restricteds match up against each other. Plus, I'd seen my opponent's team before, so coming into this match, we already had, like, you know, an information lead. And you can see they actually didn't even feel comfortable bringing the Kyurem. Which makes sense, but I feel like if you're not going to bring Kyurem, you have to protect the Landorus better, right? So, like, protecting Landorus and then switching onto Scizor last turn. Switching Scizor into Amoonguss, for example. Or actually pivoting back out into Instant. I don't know, it's just a really tough matchup for them. Okay, anyway. It's not 100% won yet, so I just want to play a little bit safe here. But I think we can always protect Feeny and Parting Shot into Instant. Yeah, that should always put us in a really good position. Yeah, you just can't deal damage from that spot, but I just wanted to fully think that one more turn out. Because there, Amoonguss can't do anything with us setting up terrain. So it's like you can fake out Spore it into Instant, but that's fine. Or sorry, not fake out Spore. Like, Amoonguss just can't do anything. So the key thing to do there is to just maintain our Tapu Fini and potentially switch it out when terrain's about to expire. Now, granted, they're never going to do enough damage with Instant or Amoonguss, so I guess we didn't really need to overthink an endgame like that. But yeah, this is an example where our restricted just did so well into theirs, like my opponent didn't even feel comfortable breaking theirs. So yeah, that's how sometimes it could, like, Series 10 kind of feels like matchup roulette, but it works out for us here as we run into a favorable matchup. All right, next match of the day, and very cool team. Very relevant to the question of the day because they have Chandelure, Nidoking, Whimsicott, Galarian-Moltres. Now, a bunch of you pointed out a very good point yesterday in which I went up against Shedinja, and Necrozma's attacks are actually pretty handy here, especially, as you can see, ignores ability, right? So, like, Sunsteel Strike, for example, will actually go through Shedinja's ability, which is super, super valuable. So we don't have to worry about Shedinja nearly as much. Now, Chandelure is actually the Pokemon I'm nervous about. Okay, Mimikyu offensively is really good here, though, so I think Instant Mimikyu is really safe. We can just fake out Chirkum, and they lead Chandelure, just Shadow Sneak instead. So those two without a doubt. I like Galarian Zapdos. This is a really cool team, though, so, like, yeah. Shout out to my opponent. Who do I want as the last one? Probably Zapdos. Feeny's pretty good, though. Amoonguss is fine, too. I feel like the three I've selected I really need to play around well. The fourth can be flexible. I'm just going to bring Zapdos, mainly because we don't get to use this Zapdos set at all. And it's so rare that I'm not sure we'll ever use it again in this format. So let's see. Really cool team. Nidoking is basically kind of like a glass cannon in which, like, it can one-shot a lot of things, and you have Tailwind support for it, but I think here Trick Room is just such a big advantage for us, right? So they're going to go with Chandelure plus Nidoking. I honestly wonder how much Woodhammer does. The play I want to make turn one is just... Oh, they're Air Balloon. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if Life Orb Shadow Sneak just KOs it then. Because the play I want to make is typically with Chandelure, you assume Imprison and Trick Room. So I can just Shadow Sneak their Chandelure with Life Orb, Shadow Sneak, and then fake out Nidoking, and then turn two probably just pivot Instant out into Zapdos. That's the other upside for Zapdos I didn't talk about, is actually works as a switch and into ground type damage. And if we just knock out Chandelure here, we're in really good shape. Okay, we don't get the knockout. I assume Imprison here, or Trick Room. Actually, if they Trick Room, that's great. Yeah, there's Imprison. Okay. So that's pretty standard. Honestly, I want to Woodhammer Nidoking here, because this thing's a bigger offensive threat than Chandelure. Like, it would like, based off how much that Fake Out did, I feel like Wood Hammer into Shadow Sneak's enough for a KO. So I'm down to Wood Hammer and switch out into Zapdos here, I think. Well, actually, they could just attack with Chandelure, right? Yeah, never mind. I'll just Shadow Sneak and pivot out. It's a fairly obvious play on my end, but I think it's relatively safe. Okay, they actually switched Chandelure out into Moltres, so that's a good switch in. Curious if they read the instant switch here. It's a really obvious switch that I'm making. If not, like, I can just play Rough Moltres next turn for a KO. Alright, good Earth Power. Yeah, nicely done. I think it's okay. Nidoking's actually so darn good here. So, like, maybe I did need Feeny. I'm gonna go Zapdos back out into Incineroar. Because I need to get Trick Room up. And then what I can do is get Necrozma and then just fake out Trick Room. Yeah. So, I'm gonna sneak here into Nidoking. Actually, Sneak is nice for Chip. Yeah. Do I need Chip onto it? It would probably put it in KO range from something like a Brave Bird, so yeah. I'm fine with this play. The Wood Hammer play would have probably worked out better. But I was nervous about a double up onto Mimikyu with Shadow Ball and Earth Power / Sludge Bomb. This Nidoking is really impressive right now, though, because I don't have things to like actually solidly KO, and it matches up really well into our Restricted, which is really cool to see. I think, yeah, Wood Hammer Sneak, I think probably was enough. T-Bolt. Oh, interesting. They just Fiery Rat, so I could have gotten Trick Room up there. Yeah, I am just going to Trick Room Fake Out here. I actually almost don't want to Fake Out. I think we survive Fiery Wrath, but they can obviously just Air Slash us, which is the problem. Wow, T-Bolt I mean, T-Bolt's not that crazy, actually. I feel like I shouldn't be that shocked by it. Okay, Nidoking protects, so it's Protect, T-Bolt, Earth Power, Sludge Bomb. They just go for Fiery Wrath again. I think we survive on Mimikyu, honestly. Yeah, we do. Nice, and they don't flinch us. That should put us in a game-winning position, but, like, I don't love my play there, because Air Slush should get the KO onto us. Now I can just Life Orb play rough. I actually don't know if I KO with Flare Blitz onto Nidoking. I don't want to take that risk. I think it probably does, given how the lack of defense investment it looks like it has. They actually switch out, okay. Into Chandelure. That's a good switch by them. Thought I went for Parting Shot. See if they have Protect on Moltres, because if not, we can just one-shot it. What? Whoa. Okay. I did not see that coming. Sucker Punch Moltres. It makes a lot of sense. You can use it specifically for Calyrex Shadow Rider, but that's wild. I honestly feel like I need to conserve Vincent because we know there's Actually, I think it's fine to go Incin here. And what we can do is just Darkest Lariat into Chandelure and Swords Dance. Because, like, Necrozma's not really worried about damage right now. I did not see Sucker Punch coming, though. That's wild. Like, I could have even gotten around it by sneaking Chandelure there. But that's just not something I would have expected. It's really cool. Yeah, so I'm just going to Lariat here and Swords Dance. Fiery Wrath was doing so little. This Moltres is probably very bulky and doesn't have as much offense. Wouldn't be surprised if he even has attack investment. Specifically so that you can like guarantee a knockout onto Calyrex Shadow Rider. That's so cool though. Really, really cool sets. And I honestly think my opponent's playing really well. Yeah, I'm really impressed by Nidoking here. Feeny may have been the right Pokemon to bring instead of Zapdos, but Zapdos is just fun. Not that Feeny isn't fun, but, you know. Okay, so they switch Chandelure out. There's Zacian. Now's where the game gets interesting. But they don't have a safe switch in at this point. Yeah, you don't have a safe switch in into Sunsteel Strike. So, like, this is where Swords Dance was super, like, this is why Swords Dance on this team in general is just so valuable. It's actually really good damage from Lariat. So we've seen Sucker Punch, Fiery Wrath. They might not even have Air Slash on Moltres then. 2 turns of Trick Room, which is great. I think here I like Parting Shot into Zacian and just Strike into Moltres. Yeah, it's pretty foolproof. That allows me to recycle Winston later on as well. Zacian protects, but that's fine. The reason why that protects actually a really big deal is because now I can easily target it next turn with full confidence. Unless Sunsteel Strike doesn't KO here. I was also thinking of Parting Shot Moltres just because they protected, so like you'd have to double protect to prevent me from switching out Incin, or just hard switch Incineroar, actually, that also works. Unless +2 Sunsteel Strike doesn't KO here, that would be bad. Okay, nice. The reason why Parting Shot or switching Incin out there could be valuable is because it's the last turn of Trick Room. So they bring Nidoking out. They still have Chandelure in the back. Yeah, this is still very winnable by my opponent. I wonder if they go for a double protect here. Blitz can also just KO Zacian potentially. You would think Nidoking protects. They could actually win off a double protect here, I think. Like, I think I'd just switch out into Zapdos here and Sunsteel Strike. I think with our ability, we survive Earth Power. But if they get a double on Zacian, we could actually very realistically lose this game. That's also a really good play. Oh, now the question, though, is did you protect the Nidoking? I feel like they're not going to. Okay, they did. So that's good. Okay. I just don't know if Nidoking's Earth Power one-shots our Necrozma. That's definitely the right play for them to make. Because we'll win if it's Incin plus Zapdos against a neutral Zacian. So like what I want to do here almost is just double up onto Nidoking. The problem basically is if you have Play Rough and Earth Power one-shots us. I think I trust Necrozma's ability enough here to survive, but I'm honestly not 100% sure. Actually, Brave Bird Trick Room's always stronger, right? There's no reason not to Trick Room here. And it also covers for a weird option of them trying to double protect with Nidoking. I mean, if Earth Power gets the KO, I actually have no way around it anyway. And it also depends on whether or not they have Play Rough on Zacian. Oh, they close combat. Okay, I think that actually always wins us the game then. Sweet. Because, like, all I needed here is either Trick Room or a knockout onto Nidoking. Either should secure up the game for us. Yeah, they just Earth Power. But that's fine because now I bring an Incineroar out. Unless close combat KOs at neutral. Your win con now is, well, even then, I have close combat. You'd be at -2 with Zacian. So I think we're good. This was a really cool... oh, wait. I forgot how low my Incin was. I thought it was at full health for some reason. Okay, so then it comes down to whether or not Zacian is Play Rough. Oh, what a doozy. Here, we're just going to fake out close combat. I would think at -2 defense, our close combat picks up the knockout onto them. Oh, interesting. They don't protect. That guarantees us the win then. You have to protect there. Ah, close combat by itself actually just finished it off. Okay, then we had the game locked up either way. I was just nervous about them surviving, but actually at -2 defense, there's really no wow because we would just close combat Flare Blitz anyway. So I think I overthought it a little bit there. But just Zacian's so scary. Like, it's just such a good and consistent restricted Pokemon. Oh, I'm very curious about this team. It's a really cool team. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't protect there, but I guess actually the game was just over anyway. Although I could always choke the game away. if I don't click close combat for some reason. Yeah. Wild Charge, Shedinja with Ally Switch, the classic. Air Balloon Chandelure, as we saw. Modest. Heat Wave Shadow Ball, Trick Room Imprison. Citrus Moltres. Oh, it was just timid. Like max speed, max special attack. Oh, I didn't get to see the rest. I didn't get to see the Nidoking. Oh. Okay, well, I'm assuming it's just Life Orb. We saw the moveset, obviously. So, yeah. That's a really cool team, though. And ultimately, like, I think my opponent played really well. We were just able to get that pivotal Sword Stance off with Necrozma. And this is an example of a matchup where after just one Sword Stance, Necrozma can sweep. Because our opponent didn't have Intimidate. And if you don't bring Intimidate, the matchup is just so much harder. So, yeah. But that was definitely one of the cooler teams we run into. And that Nidoking was super, super sweet. Alright, next match here. And, wow, speaking of wild teams, this honestly feels like a singles team. But it's obviously not. Hippowdon, Thundurus-T. Super cool. Okay. So how do I approach this? Mimikyu is honestly really good for play rough. Ferrothorn concerns me a little bit with Iron Defense. Because this team is all physical damage. But I think I like Instant Mimi. Zapdos plus Necrozma. Honestly, both Feeny and Amoonguss are good here too, but I think I'm just going to go with these and see how it plays out. Yeah, so in this matchup, Necrozma's solid. Zapdos is actually very good. They don't have many resistances to it. And then Mimikyu is very good offensively as well. In a best of 3, I would very much consider both Feeny or Amoonguss, but I think in a best of 1, I'm fine with the 4 that we have. All of our Pokemon are pretty good here. I don't love Amoonguss primarily because they have Ferrothorn and it just completely walls Amoonguss and can get Iron Defense up on us. So I'd rather have more offense. And Incineroar is going to be my best offense really into it. So they go Instant plus Thundurus-T. You should have Yveltal in the back. This is a good lead by them. Maybe you just trade Fake Outs turn 1. This is also a really good lead because normally you don't want to lead Incineroar when your opponent has Galarian Zapdos, but the Thundurus-T here covers for me leading Zapdos. So, yeah, it's just a very effective lead by them. I guess the awkward thing here is that they have Taunt on Incineroar. That actually is kind of an issue. That's a very big issue, actually. Okay, I'm going to fake out Thundurus here. And switch Mimi out into Necrozma, actually. Because Necrozma walls Thundurus pretty well. And I'm not really nervous about their Incineroar because they're already intimidated. But the thing is, I didn't bring Feeny or Amoonguss in this game, so I can't self-heal my Necrozma very easily. I just fake out, that's fine. Okay, it's Thundurus that has Taunt, wow. Wouldn't have expected that, necessarily, but that's cool. I really want to just, like, Parting Shot into Thundurus and Photon Geyser here. Like, Thundurus protecting here seems fairly obvious. They could also pivot out into Yveltal. I'd be fine with that, though. Yeah. Okay, they Volt Switch. That's okay. Is it okay, actually, if you just go into Yveltal? Then you Parting Shot into... Ugh. The Necrozma, it gets really messy. Surely it's Yveltal coming in, right? Yeah. Okay, that was, yeah, just really good execution. I honestly think Sunsteel Strike in that position might just be fine because, like, Photon Geyser isn't going to one-shot anyway. I could have pivoted Necrozma out into Zapdos to take this Parting Shot, but then you just have Thundurus Yveltal out against me. If I wanted to guarantee Trick Room, I needed Amoonguss in this game. And based off what they brought, Amoonguss would have been really good. Great play by my opponent. However, now is where I can bring in Mimikyu, bait them into taunting me, and just Life Orb play rough into Necrozma. Or sorry, into Yveltal. I don't even know if I need to be that worried about Yveltal, quite frankly. It's more Thundurus that's annoying. Because I can see that pivoting out into Incin as you taunt with Thundurus. Yeah, I mean, this thing isn't in really good shape right now. Okay, I'm actually down to play Rough and Geyser into this then. I guess Thundurus could always just Volt Switch out here. They just Dark Pulse, okay. It's decent damage, but not that much. Oh, yeah, that's going out into Incin now. These switches are so tough to break through. Like, I could read into it. I also could have just Trick Room there, and I probably should have. Yeah, the cycling has been so well done in this game. This Thundurus-T has been a huge nuisance. I mean, Volt Switch... Oh, okay, and it's actually Pharaoh as their fourth. That's so smart, because if I Trick Room, it covers for that. Yeah. I really like that play by them. It is frustrating, because I could have actually gotten a play Rough into Yveltal, but I was expecting that to go out into Incineroar. And if we can knock out Thundurus-T, we knock out, like, the taunt user on their side, right? I shake off the taunt now, though, so I actually can Trick Room with this, but at what cost? I like play Rough into Yveltal. We should survive Dark Pulse. I want to play Rough and switch out into Zapdos here, I think. Because we're at the point now where we need to deter them from bringing the Incineroar back in. It's just, this is the problem with Ferrothorn. If they're Iron Defense, they position it so well. Okay, they just Dark Pulse again. Nice. Life Orb play Rough connects, so that's huge. It's not a KO onto Yveltal, but I guess I'll take it. Can't complain. Okay, and they just Gyro Ball. All things considered, I'd actually say that's a pretty good turn. Because the thing is, now I pressure... Okay, yeah, this is actually really good. Because I should be able to get Trick Room up now with Necrozma. And I pressure with Close Combat into Ferrothorn. They also don't know that I'm min speed, but we're basically trying to avoid a flinch here. Yeah. I can also read into Dark Pulse and actually switch out into Incin here and knock out Yveltal. I guess the other thing is Yveltal here can go for Oblivion Wing onto us, but we should survive. I don't know, Protect Pharaoh, Oblivion Wing into Zapdos here would actually be really bad. I feel like I need to respect that option. So I'm actually going to Trick Room. Actually, just Trick Room and Detect I feel like is fine. It'd just be frustrating if they don't protect the Pharaoh here. Okay, they did Oblivion Wing, which is good, but they didn't protect Ferrothorn. Maybe that's fine, though. It's going to be Knockoff. That's a lot of damage. Oh, that's really bad. That definitely did more than I would have anticipated. Okay. It's fine, though. Now I can pivot out into Incineroar. Given your Gyro Ball and Knockoff, you're more offensive, clearly. And I'll just Brave Bird here into the Yveltal slot. I think, like, this is where Galarian Moltres maybe can sweep in the game. Yeah. Knockoff is more of an issue because it gets rid of my Citrus Berry, and it's just a good burst damage onto... Like, we can't take another Knockoff right now, so I have to switch out the Necrozma because I don't have Protect on it. This is a really... Like, we went up against some really cool teams today, though. So, yeah, even if we lose this, I really can't complain. My opponent also just positioned themselves so well in the first 3 turns of the game. And that's the downside of, like, Necrozma. I don't really have a safe play to make when I'm deciding between Photon Geyser and Sunsteel Strike. Okay, so we switch out. The main thing here is trying to bait just get my opponent to switch in their Incineroar, but they're definitely not going to switch it in. Okay, they go for another knockoff. That's good. I mean, it gets rid of this berry, which sucks, but it is what it is. I have to Brave Bird here because I can't allow the Yveltal to just Oblivion Wing and heal back up, right? Okay. But now we got an Intimidate onto Ferrothorn. We got rid of my opponent's restricted Pokemon. And we're in a position now where, like, Oh, they actually do bring the... That's interesting. Wow. They do bring the Incineroar out. I'm really surprised about that, but this is where I think our item comes up absolutely huge for us. I'm not sure if Flare Blitz KOs. I've got Quick Guard. I could Quick Guard Flare Blitz. Or I can just fake out their instant, right? Yeah. I think that's the play. Fake out instant. CC into Ferro. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I mean, that's fine, I think. I think they're hoping for Gyro Ball to just KO here, but they're intimidated and we're slow and bulky. Now that's interesting. They knock off, meaning they actually get rid of the Power Anklet. And their Chople Berry. What? Wait, it's fine though. We get a KO. Okay. This is really darn close. Okay. Now, this next turn, our Zapdos should still be slower, so like... We've seen Volt Switch and Taunt on this Thundurus-T. I don't know how fast their Incineroar is going to be, but it should outpace us now. So they might Flare Blitz us. With the defense drop, I actually think Flare Blitz KOs. So I feel like I need a parting shot here. And close combat it. Is that the play? Then it comes down to Thundurus versus Incin probably. This is risky. I mean, they might just Flare Blitz, Volt Switch. Yeah, the knockoff was actually so huge because we would have outsped otherwise. But that makes sense for them to go for. So they do Blitz. I think we should survive. Okay, we do. Nice. That's a knockout. This is so intense. What a game. Really cool team. I could have just went fake out close combat onto Ferro. That was probably the play, actually. They have T-Bolt. I honestly think there's a decent chance this Thundurus doesn't have Protect. If you do, though, I think we still win because I think Darkest Lariat into Blitz is a KO, but I haven't seen the item on this yet. Goggles was actually my guess, given that you have Taunt. So we'll see if they have Protect. It's the last round of Trick Room here. Yeah, it's just fake out. We always want to close combat instead of Brave Birding because we don't want to feint from recoil, give them a potential chance to crit with T-Bolt. And that means they don't have Protect. What a game. Wow. That was so wild. That was a really fun one. Honestly, all the matches today were super exciting. And yeah, we went up against some really unorthodox stuff, which I think is always kind of fun to play against as well. So, yeah. All three teams today were actually very unorthodox. We went against Kyurem-W. We just have a really good matchup into that, honestly. Zacian, but with really interesting support like Chandelure and and Nidoking, both which I think are really underrated. And then in this one, Yveltal, Ferro, Protect Incin, more offensive Ferro with knockoff. Honestly, I'm really glad it was offensive Ferro and not something like Iron Defense Body Press. I think that would have been a nightmare for us to deal with. So I'd rather see that, honestly. We didn't get to see Dracovish or Hippowdon come out in that one, unfortunately, but Thundurus-T set was really interesting as well. And yeah, the margins there were really thin. If Zapdos faints there, we obviously lose. So super, super wild set of games. But really fun to go up against all these different, unique teams in Pokemon. And once again, I hope you can see there's a lot of room for creativity in Series 10. So that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.